Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics where, yep, you guessed it, I'm restarting Unity. It's been like 15, 20 minutes since I started it and it wasn't going. So I think at this point we can safely say we just need to save all of this, compile it on in, and make sure that this actually works. If this doesn't work, well then we've got a problem, but this should work. Theoretically. At least I hope it works. Come on, you can do it. Maybe it works. I mean, we switched over the business. I'm not 100% convinced that it actually recompiled, though, is the thing. Maybe I should have made a change and then changed it back. Because I force quit it, and then I restarted it, and like I said, I'm not 100% sure it recompiled. So it's been about a minute. That's longer than it usually takes. I'm going to go ahead and force quit it again. And we're going to go into Unity here. We're going to restart this, and rather than running it immediately, one thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to change something kind of inconsequential, like this. And then we will compile that in, maybe. There we go. Okay, we'll compile that in. And then put this back and compile that in. Okay. And now we'll see if it runs. With any luck, it will. Come on, Unity. You got this. Maybe. Maybe Unity has this. So the question then is, what exactly is going wrong with this? Well, let's pop into here. We're creating a new building script and adding it in here to biomehexes.i.buildings. So far, no joy, which is a wee bit unfortunate. So the question then is it in fact this that's causing the issue? So building, when it's called, it shouldn't be doing anything amazingly slow. That said, there are like 13 million of these that it has to do. Oh, I know what the problem is. Yeah, I know what the problem is. Okay, we need to kill Unity again. And let's come on in here again. Restart this another time. And the problem is that the time-aware non-mono behavior version is doing this GameObject.findObject of type call. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to get rid of the constructor here. And when we create the time-aware object to non-NB, we're going to have to set the manager and then call the start. So we're going to need to go into our world hex right here. And I believe we have a reference to the time manager. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to say building equals new building, like so. Building.manager, or rather building.timemanager? Oh, that's private, isn't it? Yeah. That can be public. So building.manager equals time manager. Now we have a reference to the hex manager, which I believe has a reference to the time manager. Something does. Manager.business.time manager is private there. We could grab it. We can just do this a single time, like right here. Time manager equals game object dot find object of type time manager, and then building.manager, we can set it here, or actually we could do it in the constructor, so like building manager, so that way we never forget to pass it in. So let's go into our building here, recreate the constructor, and actually I want to put this back to here. And in the time aware object non-MB, we can put back what is happening here? Okay, we can put this back. Okay, there we go. And then time manager. And I'm going to go ahead and capitalize this just to differentiate. Manager equals manager. Okay. Now, obviously, this is going to break this a bit. Because of this, I think. Because we don't implement a constructor here? Is this it? Oh, I bet it's because this needs to be protected. Maybe. Or maybe we just need to implement a constructor. Public building time manager. And then like that. It's not liking that either. Okay. There's no argument given that corresponds to the required formal parameter manager of time-aware object non-MB dot time-aware object non-MB time manager. I feel like we need to do a constructor here. So just public building time manager base dot constructor. There isn't really a there really isn't a constructor for that. So just manager equals manager and start. We'll just re-implement it like that. But yeah, this is causing an issue. Kind of as expected. I don't think I typoed it. Indeed, I did not. We're having the same problem in vehicle. And of course, this passes in the manager. And then we no longer need to do this. But we do need to have a reference to the manager. I'm going to go ahead and rename it here, though, to time manager, just so that we're a little bit more clear. Okay, so why is this not working correctly? Yeah, that's exactly what I have. Okay. There is no argument that corresponds to the required formal parameter manager of time-aware object non-MB.time-aware object non-MB time manager. Except I implemented it exactly the same. Maybe I need to be doing this? No, that has to go here. Maybe this needs to be virtual? Yeah, I didn't think so. C# constructor inheritance. How does this work? I must be doing this wrong. Is the only thing I can figure. So blah 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 blah. Derived class here with the constructor. Okay. Interesting. But that just doesn't have a constructor. What if we got rid of this in the time-aware object? Yeah, that works. So we just have the superclass not have a constructor, and the subclasses will just implement their own constructor. Okay, that should work fine. So now we're not looking up the manager for every single building hex, which I believe, based on our hex manager here, we determined there's like 13 million of those? Something like that? We're 50 by 50. Let me pull up a calculator here. So we are 50 by 50. So we have 2,500 world hexes. There are 73 biome hexes in each of those. So that's 182,500 biome hexes. Then we have 73 building hexes in each of those, so 13,322,500 building hexes. That's why it was taking so long. Without actually looking that up for all 13 million of those, this should go a wee bit faster. I hope, anyway. Hopefully we don't have to force quit this. Come on. There we go. Look at that. That is amazing. We're going to go ahead and skip the tutorial. And then I'm going to come in here. And it looks like we did get some errors. 18 of them, to be precise. This is in building hex line 182. So, building hex. Line 182. System.enum.getName type of building type. Oh, this needs to be .type. Now, that's not going to be the only one of those that we run into. There's going to be another one here. I believe this is going to be fine. But that's still not going to be the only one of those that we're going to run into, but it's an easy enough fix. So we'll just fix them as we run into them. But the good news is, buildings now have stored data. So that's excellent. We're going to need to be able to get our building, but we get there the same way we got the building type before. So that's easy-ish enough. And then all we need to do is have a way... Well, there's another question though, right? Can we move vehicles from one building to another? Can we essentially relocate the vehicle's base? I don't see a reason why not. We should be able to. I mean, that would be a simple matter of just removing the vehicle from this building's list and placing it into the target building's list, maybe after the vehicle drives over there. I'm not sure if that's necessary or not. And then these here would be the... what would kind of be... Yeah, Just had an idea. We should have progress bars. Specifically, as soon as this recompiles, we should have progress... Come on. Come on, Unity. There we go. Okay. Specifically, we should have progress bars in our UI here when we select a building. So the hex selection window, let's go ahead and pop that open. And what I'm thinking right now is, A, we need to line all of this up. So let's go ahead and see about doing that. And that does mean that when we go into our hex manager, or rather our hex selection window here, and we do this, we need to make sure that this is all lined up. And it looks like it is once we actually go in. Let's just run this and make sure that it is properly lined up. And if it is, great. Then we can go ahead and make sure that this is all proper. Now, it does bear noting that I don't think we're using a monospaced font. Yeah, we're definitely not using a monospaced font. So let's come on in here, select this building. Yeah, that's basically what I expected to see, with us not using a monospaced font. We could get one. Alternately, it kind of looks like the caps on this font might be monospaced. We don't have like an I in there, so I can't really see. But what I'm talking about here is you can see the C here is substantially wider than the I and the L and the I and the T, and the Y is wider as well. So it's not a monospaced font, which means we have a very hard time making this even. Now we can restructure this. And that's kind of what I'm leaning towards doing. So let's go ahead and stop that, and then I'm going to save this scene for now. And then let's open this up, and I'm going to just restructure this a little bit. Because I'm going to go ahead and come into our info panel here. And rather than this being done this way, I'm going to overhaul how this is being done. So first off, I would like... Is there a way to auto space these so that there's an even amount of space between them in TextMesh Pro? There should be. Margins, geometry sorting, rich text, blah blah blah. I mean, we probably don't need rich text in this, but whatever. I'll leave that for now. Baseline, midline, capline. I mean, that essentially centers it there, as does that, but I'd probably use the midline. UV mapping options. I mean, we could just put in some line spacing here to stretch it out a bit. Kind of like about there-ish, about 30 pixels per line. That looks about right. And then essentially, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be bringing this to just upkeep, sorting, loading, and then vehicle capacity could kind of stay, but that's much, much longer than everything else. Maybe think of a different term there. Also, another thing we should have, vehicle, just vehicle, I think. And I'm going to actually place that on the bottom, because I want to have some progress bars in here. So let's go ahead and bring down the line spacing by at least one line. So 30 minus... Actually, we'll do it at just 16 line spacing. That's too much. 12? Still too much. 10. Still too much. 5. Still too much. 0? 0 actually works. I'm good with that. Yeah, that seems fine. Okay, so we could have this just be vehicle cap. That's still substantially longer than everything else there. We could just do capacity. And then this would be one vehicle. And then the vehicle type would be delivery. Okay, so we're going to call this labels. And then inside of here, we're going to create ourselves an empty. And this empty will be right around here-ish. About 30 pixels over. And we will create a width. I can't really see the width and height of it in this scenario here. Where is the width and height? It's blending in very well, I think. Yeah, it's blending in extremely well. Basically invisible. So for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and hide the info panel so that we can actually see this a bit. Unfortunately, with that hidden, we can see it barely, but we can't see where our labels are. But we should go ahead and remove all of these, like so. And it is actually time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and our overhaul of this will be finished up in the next episode. See you all then.